to the episode of the Damsel series. This will be the third variation I'm showing, and this one is inspired from the classic Dawson's olive pattern, which is a classic lure up and down the country in the UK. But I thought I'd try and put its influence on a damsel, which really works well. This is definitely one you want for the summer months or spring, and I find this pattern fishes really well when it's sunny, bright conditions, because I'm not sure, I don't know whether it's the really bright chartreuse in the tail that beams in the sunlight rather than just plain all olive. There's a few sessions where I'd fished a normal damsel and not much luck, and then I put on this variation and I was getting hits left, right and centre. So this is definitely one of my favourites, particularly on the bright days when that sun's beaming through the water, elevating the colours on this fly. So we'll begin then. In the vise I have a long shank, size 10. On that with a chartreuse 3.2 brass bead. Going to be using olive uni in 6/0. I have some crystal flash in pearl for the tail and the body rib. I have some really nice rusty brown ice dubbing, and for the hackle I've got some brown French partridge. Oh, and also obviously the marabous. So I've got the olive normal, medium olive, with the chartreuse, really bright yellow green. So I'm just going to run down the hook. Down to where the barb would be. About there. So, as you well know, the Dawson's olive usually consists of two colours in the fly: orange and olive, or yellow and olive, or maybe chartreuse and olive. I'm sure traditionally it is orange or just a normal yellow, but chartreuse is definitely a modern colour that a lot of patterns are using now because of how good they are. So for this instance, you're not going to want to take a huge bunch off one plume like you would for a normal marabou tail, because remember, we're putting 2 blends of marabou in the tail, so you only want to pinch half of what you normally would. So probably about that much. But usually I'd take half a plume for a normal tail. So I'm just going to take a couple of inches worth. And as usual, we're going to snip off tough bits on the end. And then we're just going to run through this, thin that out with your thumbnail and index finger. Just going to run this down up, keep the marabou up. Like so. I'm not going to touch the tail yet. I'm going to put the olive on top and then lengthen it to my desired length. Same again, we're only going to be looking for a couple of inches worth on the olive. Exactly the same again. I'm going to trim the hard parts off the end, run the finger through. I'm going to come down with this now. Come down till you meet the chartreuse base, so they're both in line like that. Just going to pinch the ends off these tails, tiny bit, about a hook and a half length long you want them, just to neaten these out, like so. So you see you got your little olive there and the chartreuse underneath. Now we're going to put in our crystal flash. Come under the thread. So holding that tight, we're going to come down. Come over and round. And tie the other side in. And just close your scissors around that. Chop the tip, flash off in line with the tail. Just wet that. There we are. So the flash is in. Now with the other part of that flash, I'm going to tie that in for my ribbing. Again, coming under your thread, catching it in easily. Whoops. Just pull it through, so you got a little tail there. Then I'm going to tie this to the base of the fly. Like so. And then utilising the marabou, we're going to use a dubbing technique for the body of this one. So I'm rolling about 4 strands of marabou onto my head, not too thick. I'm going to come on with this, which gives a really nice fluffy look. Keep it nice and thin. Going to add a little bit of bulk to the head there. There we are. Then we're going to rib the crystal flash up the body. A lot of attraction in this fly. Again, when it's sunny, got the sun flashing the pearl under the water and the chartreuse colours on this, making it stand out to the fish. So I ripped that in, caught it in behind the bead, and I'm just going to trim that. Yeah, it's nice and neat. I'm going to come in with our partridge. Now you don't want too long of partridge to make it look silly on the fly. What I like with this hackle is it's very flexible and light, moves a lot in the water, but it also cloaks the fly when it's wet. It looks really cool, wraps around the body like it'd be swimming. So I'm just going to take the soft hackles off and work now on this stem. Just peeling the hackles off. There we go. And I'm left with just the tip. That's the shortest part. So it's probably hook length. Yeah, just over, but that's fine. If you can get smaller ones, do. They're shorter feathers, but you can make these longer ones work for you as well. So notice my hackle's curved there. You want the curved part facing down the fly, like so, not sideways or backwards. So I'm going to catch that in the tip, give it a good 3 or 4 turns. Trim off the stem. Again, this is very light feather, so there's times that it will break when you're trying to put your hackle on. And what I like to do is just bring my feathers out whilst I've got this in the hackle pliers. Just run your fingers down and you'll find that these all come out now. You can see, look, rather than being bunched up. And once you've come round, catch them in, pull everything back, just kind of mill back on that. So there, the hackles. You can play with the fibres now and make it more leggy. Then you can see how cool these legs are. They just hug that pattern like that, and when they're wet they just all cloak in and go darker. I'm going to finish off with just the collar of this rusty brown. Looks really nice, and it almost acts like a trigger point behind the chartreuse bead. Not too much. Whoops. Now that that's it, I'm going to finish the tie. Couple of knots in that. And that is a variation of the Dawson's Damsel. So you can see it's got 4 different colours in there. Got the chartreuse olive, the dark brown hackle, as well as that collar of rusty brown, which is almost like a copper. Just looks awesome when it's wet, this fly. I'll try and wet it now and see if it takes some sort of shape. It's very streamlined and fishy looking. You can see the 2 layers of marabous there, sitting nicely on top, as well as the crystal flash. So that is the Dawson's Damsel, guys, on episode 3 of my Damsel variations that I really like to use. So give it a go, let me know what you think. If you enjoyed the video, like the video if you don't mind, and subscribe if you want to see more, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers guys.